Welcome into day 43. Today is a super exciting point in this 12-week muscle building trainer because we are 6 weeks through, meaning we have made it to the halfway point. So congratulations, that is awesome. I've been seeing insane progress both in muscle gain and in strength in the first 6 weeks, so I'm super excited to attack the next 6 weeks and continue to get those amazing results. Now this video is going to be a little bit longer because we're going to take what we covered last weekend and break it down a little bit more in depth. So last weekend I tasked you with this past week to do some evaluations over your workout. So if you're following along with this 12-week muscle building program, you're supposed to evaluate what exercises you may need to swap up and if your goals have shifted in any way. So the two main things we were looking for with exercise swaps is, has progress stagnated on any of the exercises? Meaning, have you been unable to progressively overload either in repetitions or weight for 2 straight weeks? If that's the case, it may be time to change up that exercise. The other reason to change an exercise was if it was starting to bother or cause any sort of strain on your tendons, ligaments, or muscles. And then as far as the evaluation of the goals go, that is just to see if your goal is shifted from purely mass gaining to more of a solidifying maintenance phase, or even a cutting phase while continuing to put on muscle. So I'm going to tell you how my evaluations went and then explain how you can make adjustments in your own program for each of those 3 points as well. But first off, I'm going to go ahead and break down, since it is a workout day, one of the exercise execution videos where we're going to go over an exercise and show you exactly how to perform it to maximize your results. Let's check it out.
All right, so the exercise we're going to be covering today is the leg extension. To be specific, the single leg extension. So a couple things to focus on right here. First off, notice how controlled I am going on this movement. I'm coming up in a controlled squeeze, pausing for a split second at the top of every rep, flexing the muscles in the quadriceps as hard as I can, and then controlling the negative down, taking approximately that twice as long to lower the weight as it is to raise the weight. Now this is vital, and I see so many people miss out on this exercise. They explode the weight to the top using momentum just to sling it to the top. They're unable to pause the weight at the top because they're not really using their muscles to contract the weight up. And then they just allow gravity to bang them back down to the starting position. Not only is this not optimal for leg development, it can also be detrimental to your knees. So always focus on contracting the weight up with the quadriceps. Feel the squeeze through every inch of the range of motion, including that pause at the top. I also want you to focus on going nice and slow on the negative, still feeling the muscles as they stretch down into the starting position. Another thing that you can do that's very helpful with the single leg extension is you can find out what pointing your toe slightly outwards, slightly inwards, or straight forward does to affect the contraction you get. Whatever position you feel the best contraction in, you can go with that. Or you can mix it up from workout to workout or set to set. You can also use your hand touching certain muscles on the thigh to get a better contraction and isolation on that muscle. You'll notice I like to break up my set. This is all one set here, where the first 10 repetitions I did, I was leaning slightly forward, and the second 10 shown here, I'm actually leaning backwards against the pad. I feel a slightly different stimulation in the quadriceps from the forward to leaning back position, so I'll use both. And when I reach close to failure leaning forward, I'll lean back for those last few reps.
So I hope you found that helpful in some way. If you have any further questions on the exercise, feel free to comment down below. And now let's jump into the meat and potatoes of this video, which is the evaluations and adjustments. Let's start off with the evaluation of goals. Have they changed at all over 6 weeks? Now, for me personally, when I started off this trainer, my goal was to pack on as much muscle and strength as fast as possible. I was in a decent sizable caloric surplus with the goal to gain around 1 to 2 pounds a week coming out of a cut. Now, this is a little bit aggressive, but as you've been able to track with my progress, I actually exceeded that, putting on about an average of 4 pounds a week. And as you can see from the latest progress pictures that I posted a week ago, the majority of that is muscle, glycogen, and water with minimal body fat gain. Now, while this is super exciting and awesome, at the halfway point of evaluations, since my goal is to compete in this upcoming year in a classic physique competition, there is a weight class, and I do not want to get too fluffy and make it that much harder when I diet down. I don't want to get to the point where I have so much fat to lose that it costs me muscle in the process of dieting that off. So my adjustment here over the next 6 weeks is going to be solidifying the mass that I have put on, being able to flush out any extra water I may be holding to reveal the muscle tissue I have, while continuing to keep the calories high enough to continue to gain strength and put on muscle tissue. So basically, we're still building muscle, we're still going to be gaining, but at a little bit of a slower rate than the 4 pounds per week, so that we're able to really solidify the gains that we have while continuing to make progress. And really the only adjustment I need to make as far as that goes is nutrition. I am scaling back a little bit on the calories. We're keeping the protein exactly the same. Carbohydrates are backing off a little bit, and fats are coming down just a little bit as well. So we'll play it by week and see how that goes and if we need to make any further adjustments. And I will also make later this week a new up-to-date full day of eating video so you can see exactly what my nutrition plan looks like right now. Now, if you find this to be your goal as well, that's exactly what you'll do too. You'll scale back the calories bit by bit until you reach a point where you're still able to progress strength-wise in the gym. You still have enough calories for that, but you're backing down your weight gain a little bit. If your goal is still to just pack on as much raw mass and weight as possible, and you're succeeding in that, keep doing what you're doing. If you're not gaining at as fast of a rate as you'd like, let's say you're only gaining a pound every 2 weeks or so, and you'd like to speed that up and really bulk up, then you need to increase the calories. So this is the halfway point. This is your chance to kind of look back at what you've done, evaluate the progress, and then make any adjustments going forward to move towards the direction you'd like to be going. So our second evaluation point, and this kind of comes into 2 separate points, and that is any exercises that needed swapped. So there's a couple reasons that you may need to swap them, and for me, there was a couple exercises I needed to take out for the sake as they were starting to bother and cause little nagging issues in the trainer. So the first one came out a few weeks earlier, and that was front squats. I basically found the bar to be choking me, cutting off air, and I was having more focus on keeping the bar balanced on my shoulders than on actually going to failure with my legs. So I cut that exercise fairly early on and replaced it with belt squats. But you can replace it with any exercise that is a compound movement for quads in a similar fashion. Now, the other exercise I had to swap out was the JM presses, which is basically an advanced variation of a skull crusher and is awesome for building your triceps. However, as I was able to progressively overload fairly quickly on this, I got very strong with the movement very fast, and it started to bother the tendonitis issue that I've had several years ago in my left elbow. This was causing issues with other tricep exercises such as press downs and the reverse grip bench press that I have in a different workout. So I needed to replace the JM presses, and I did so with the pullover press. So I got to try that out. First time with this workout today. It went phenomenally, didn't cause any issues with the elbow. So elbow is getting back to 100%, and I have a new exercise to focus on progressively overloading and building my triceps. Now, I have not had a problem with not being able to progressively overload. Every single workout, I've been able to either go up in 1 rep, 2 reps, or up in weight. So I'm constantly progressing with that. However, I have reached a very exciting point on several exercises that I was doing with machines. And that is where I actually maxed out the weight stack on the machine. So I was unable to reach failure in the proper rep range on those machines anymore. And that was mainly the seated leg curl, a shoulder press machine, and tricep extension machine. So what I did with those exercises is I just swapped them from the lower range days to the higher repetition range days and put new exercises in on those lower repetition days. So if you're following along with this trainer, you know exactly what I mean. You have the higher repetition low body day and the lower repetition heavier low body day. So I took the seated leg curls out of the lower repetition day where I was reaching failure around 15 reps and put it into the higher repetition day so I can still max out the machine but continue to progress up in repetitions while still being in the intended range for that workout. So if you have the same problem, you can do that, or you can put in a new exercise that works the same muscle group. And if you do have a problem where you haven't been progressive overloading in the past 2 to 3 weeks on a certain exercise, simply because you can't without form breaking down, then it's probably a sign to go ahead and swap in a new exercise that you can progress on. All right, I know that's a lot of words for one video, so don't forget, if you are signed up for the 12-week Blueprint to Muscle, you do get messaging access to me on the app. So feel free as you make these adjustments. If anything comes up for any reason, you can reach out to me via direct message on that training app where you have all the workouts located, and I would be more than happy to help you adjust the workouts to your new goals or any new exercises you may need to put in. So we've got 6 weeks behind us. Here's to another great 6 weeks ahead. I am super excited with the continued progress that I'm going to make with these adjusted goals. It is about to get insane. So thank you so much for following along with this journey, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a great workout today.